Just a little background on myself. My name is Eric Forst, and I've got a couple of startups here that I'm working with, Bloxy, NGO Social, and GracePoint Solutions, where I'm a co-founder. And then, of course, We Heart SF, where I'm the coordinator of the Workforce Development DAO. As Albert mentioned, I've been teaching AI classes through Albert's List. And so the next class is April 3rd, and we're going to be teaching best practices in prompt engineering. So if everyone wants to go to Albert's List, where you signed up for this event, you'll also see some of the AI classes that I'm teaching there as well. So a little bit about my background. I started my career in marketing. So my first marketing job was in 1995, and I ran a one-person marketing department. It was me, and I supported 5 salespeople. Had to learn HTML to launch websites. Took a Photoshop class so I could learn how to design flyers. I was a recent MFA in poetry graduate, so I could know how to write pretty well. So that was good for copywriting and newsletter writing. So I taught myself the rest, and I ran corporate marketing departments for about 12 years. And then in 2007, I was really lucky to be the first salesperson hired for a company called Visible Technologies, which is one of the first AI companies that was doing social media sentiment analysis. So I've been very lucky to have been working with AI and helping businesses use AI for about 18 years now. So I'm excited to share with you some invaluable information that I got along the way, which was you really have to think about your job search as a marketing campaign. It's not just enough to apply on job boards. So we're going to look at what's broken in job search. I'm going to teach you some marketing basics. How many people are marketers in the room, consider themselves marketers? Great. So we have a handful, and mostly people who don't consider themselves marketers. So a few of the basics, building your target company list, some CRM setup basics, you're tracking your campaign, outreach execution, and then some closing reflection and resources. So how many people are frustrated with job boards? How many people are spending most of their time searching for jobs by using a job board? Okay. I hate to tell you, I hate to inform you, but only about 5 to 20% of your jobs are going to be found from using a job board. So you should not be spending more than 5 to 20% of your time filling out job applications. 95 to 80% of people find their job from their network, from the people you know, from the people you've worked with. So we just heard a lot of great advice about expanding your network, about getting into that personal communication mode. And so that's really what we have to do. We have to put our marketing hat on, think of ourselves as a marketer. So let's get started and let's look at how we can do that and how we can expand our referrals, expand our networking, because that's where you're going to find the job, not spending most of your time on the job boards. So as in marketing, there's really just 3 basic concepts you need to learn, and now you can become a professional marketer. The first is the persona or the brand. So we had a personal branding expert on here. The step 1 for any marketing campaign, whether it's for a company or for yourself, is you have to define your mission, vision, values. You have to define who you are. What is my purpose? Why am I here? What am I great at? What makes me different? What's my unique value proposition, right? So that's what we do in corporate marketing when we're branding for a company. You have to do the exact same thing for yourself. So many people have used ChatGPT, have the $20 a month subscription where you can make custom GPTs, but have never clicked the little icon on the left nav bar where it says Explore GPTs. So if you just open your ChatGPT right now, look in the left nav, click Explore GPTs, and then in the search, type in personal branding. You will find dozens of custom GPTs that are designed to help you design a personal brand. If you take my AI workshop, I can teach you how to design a custom GPT that'll be trained to your brand voice that will help you express your personal brand. But that is really step 1. Take self-assessments, Myers-Briggs, now discover your strengths. Get really clear about what you're good at and what differentiates you. So now that you have your personal brand, the next step is, who am I reaching out to? Who's my target audience? And what we do in branding and marketing, we have something called the ideal customer persona. We spend a lot of time before we create any content or any messaging that we're going to send out into the world as a marketer. we get really clear about the psychology and the mindset of the audience, of the ideal customer. And it's not about us at this point, it's about them. What do they need? What problems do they have? And if it's an employer, for the most part, there's really two things they care about, which is how can you either make more money for me or help me save money? And so you always really need to be thinking about what do they want? What do they need? And how can I help fulfill and solve their problem? You have to totally get into their headspace, their mindset. So we spend a lot of time in marketing creating these ideal customer personas where we do deep research and we have this ideal profile, like, we give her a name. Her name is Margaret. She's 52 years old. She drives a Volvo. We think very clearly about that ideal customer profile. So then when it's time to create the messaging, that personalized outreach, I'm now connecting my brand, my differentiator, to the audience, to the person that I'm speaking to, and I'm speaking to them. I'm speaking to that person right in front of me. So now when I'm getting ready to craft these messages, like we just heard from the panel, it shows that you've done your homework, you've researched the company, you know what their pain points and problems are, and you're able to address those. So right now, just turn to your neighbor and ask them, what is one skill or strength you want people to know about you? Just take a second and do that. All right, let's wrap it up on this. Get to know your neighbor. All right. We're going to have a lot of time afterwards for more networking. Okay. Excellent. I'm glad we're all making connections in this room and getting clear about our neighbors and what we can offer. So the next concept is, how do I think about a campaign? And so the other thing that is really core to marketing, you might have heard this term of the marketing funnel, right? So when we do the brand identity, when we do the ideal customer profile, and then we start doing our messaging to communicate, now we're ready to put it in the context of the marketing funnel. This is actually an inverted funnel. Normally, we would start at the top where it's this wide open awareness, but I'm showing it to you as a pyramid. So I'm starting from the bottom. But when we think about the funnel, it's like, okay, if I'm a brand and I'm a new brand, the first step is the world needs to know about me. And in marketing, we say that it takes 13 touches before someone can even remember that you exist as a brand. They have to see your billboard, your online ad, TV commercial, radio. Until they've heard it 13 times, they're going to forget you. So that's what we call the awareness part of the funnel, just creating awareness, right? So in a job search, what does that look like? Well, it can look like open to work on your LinkedIn profile, right? Letting people know. Maybe you're not comfortable doing it in public, but in private. But certainly if you are comfortable in public, take that bold step, make that post on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever you are and where your friends are. Step one, just let people know you're looking for work. So that's the awareness campaign. The next step is think about all the jobs you've had, all the coworkers you've had who you really liked, who you liked working with in the past. There's a good chance they liked working with you too. And those are the number one people who are most likely to hire you. So step one, start making a list of all those people, and you're going to start reaching out to them. So this is going to be just nuts and bolts of your awareness campaign. The next step is connections. Okay, I've tapped out my personal network, everyone who I actually know who's a level 1 connection on LinkedIn. Now I need to start building connections with people I don't know. So I need to start building a list of target companies and going after them. We'll get into a little more details on that, but I have to build relationships with decision makers. I have to start doing the research and start making a list of those hiring managers at companies that I want to work for. And then you have to start asking for those 5-minute phone calls or 15-minute, hey, can I buy you a coffee? I really am impressed with your career. I'd love to learn more about how you got into your position. I would love to have a job like yours someday. And kind of get into that mindset of reaching out, building connections, because like we saw in that first stat, 80 to 90% of your jobs are going to come from your network. So if you don't have a huge network, or even you do, keep building it. Make a network, connect into the jobs that you need and want. Have those conversations, exchanges about your value. All the panelists gave amazing insight to that. And then at the end of this funnel, really, if you think of it going upside down, as the leads move through the funnel, you get to offers, and then businesses, you get to sales and conversions. So what I would suggest, and again, this is what we do in marketing, we have our target list, right? We have anywhere from 10 companies to 10,000 companies, depending on how big our business is and how big the addressable market is. So think about every company that you have heard of that is a good company, all the companies that your friends have worked at, that they liked working there, any company that is like an up-and-comer in your space and you just heard of them, you think they have a good brand or a good reputation. Use ChatGPT, upload your resume, and just ask it, based on my resume and everything you know about me, if you've kept that switch turned on where ChatGPT learns about you from all of your interactions with it after you've been using it for a few years, and ask it, what are the top 10 companies or top 30 companies based on what you know about me and about my resume that you think that I might like to work for? Just ask it that, and that will generate some ideas for you. So there's going to be a QR code at the end that you'll be able to scan with a sample spreadsheet that has a few more columns than this. There's also going to be some sample outreach messages that you can use, and we'll go into those in a second. But start writing down your list of companies, start writing down the role or the team that you think you want to work for. Use LinkedIn to identify all the potential hiring managers at that company and then write all their names down. And then also people on that team who maybe have the same job that you think that you want at that company. Just write all of those names and titles down, maybe post links to those profiles into your CRM or your spreadsheet. There are great free tools like Airtable that are a little more robust than using a spreadsheet to set this up. And even HubSpot have free tiers, CRMs that you can use. So chart all this out, write it down. So create your tracking system, record every interaction. So every outreach, make sure that you've listed, okay, I sent them a LinkedIn message, here's the day I sent it. Then I sent them an email, here's the date I sent it. I left them a voicemail, here's the date I sent it. Track all your outreach down to each type of outreach and what it was. Then schedule follow-ups. You probably want to give at least 3 touches before you give up or move beyond that person, and spread them out, over a couple of days or a couple of weeks. But don't just be one and done. The other thing, like I said at the beginning, we know that in marketing, I have to get my brand in front of someone 13 times before they can even remember my name. Same thing in an outreach campaign searching for a job. Reach out to that person at least 3 times. And then analyze your progress. See what channels and what messages are working the best for you to actually get those meetings and get those informational interviews. And so the goal in this outreach is I just want an informational interview. I just want to talk to someone who is in a role that I would like to be in someday, and just learn about how you got there. So in these sample messages, you want to keep it brief, respect their time, make it personal, reference something that you learned about them. We just heard all these great tips on how to research companies and do that research, but you don't want to get long-winded about it. It's a clear call to action, like, I would love to take you out for a coffee for 15 minutes if you have a break. Like I said, just to learn more about you and your company. Focus on the value exchange, highlight what you can bring to the conversation, just like we heard from our experts. If you know they have a specific problem with X, Y, and Z, highlight in the email or the message maybe 1 or 2 times that you helped solve that problem. But mostly it's just like it says here, I admire your work, love to grab 15 minutes to learn more about your team and share my background, would be open to coffee next week. And then maybe if you don't get a response from that in your follow-up, you can start maybe giving some of the problem solution statements that you think might resonate with them. So make your list of dream companies. Figure out who's the one person you'd love to meet at that company. Get really clear about your unique value proposition. And then take that first step. So now we're going to open it back up again. Turn to your neighbor, share your answers, and commit to your next steps. And then you can scan this QR code, and you're going to get a bunch of sample templates and scripts that you can use in a sample spreadsheet and a copy of this presentation. So I'll leave this up, and then please take that and then turn to your neighbor and let them know what you're going to do to take action to launch your campaign today. Thank you. And I'm also open to taking any questions, if anyone has any, or comments.
I keep hearing, pick your dream company. I don't have a dream company. I don't want to work for Apple or Google or any of those. What's the alternative to the one dream company or the 30 dream companies?
Yeah, they don't have to be dream companies, right? It can just be, where you have heard that, like I said before, that your friends like working, where ChatGPT, based on your resume and the questions you ask it, is recommending companies that are a good fit for you. Yeah, we'd all love to have the dream job, but some of us are very practical. We'll just take a job. That's why you want to list 30. They're not all going to be your dream company. So make it a long list, but not too long. But just make it companies that are in your awareness, but just have them written down. Just by having them written down, you can now form a campaign to go after them. No, I wouldn't. I would just, look for maybe someone who went to the same school you did, or, is from the same part of the country you did, or has interests or hobbies that you can resonate with. Look for someone who maybe has a similar amount of experience that you do. So yeah, narrow it down. Don't necessarily, send spam all 50 of them. Focus on who do you think are the hiring managers among those 50? Focus on them. And then I would just pick 2 or 3 that really resonate with you in terms of someone you just want to meet who you think you might like. Anyone else? All right, let's get networking. We've got maybe a little more food. There's lots of drinks, and we've got the space open until 8:30. So please feel free to just share amongst each other. Check out our sponsors, Code Tenderloin and Merit America. Thank you, Nicole, Paul, everyone here at the House of Web3 who helped put this together. Albert from Albert's List, all the panelists. Thank you, thank you. Eva, wonderful kickoff. Thanks, everyone.